Hi there, Mike. I'm here for my 429th Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you a book review for Daughter of Crows by Mark Lawrence, Book 1 of the Academy of Kindness. I read this one to my wife, and this is a dark fantasy story that follows three characters who end up having a connection. One is an elderly woman called Rue, who lives in a small hamlet that is then besieged by raiders. Everyone is killed, and she literally rises from the mass grave and goes on a killing spree to avenge the deaths of her friends. A young girl called Eldest, who is trapped in a house of horrors with some other children and are educated by day father and hunted and tormented at night by night father. Mother is this weird thing in the cellar. The interior of the house is their entire world, and they are fed a gruel which makes them forget their identity every day. So there's almost like a rinse and repeat of each day. And Beck, a teenage girl who is sold to the Academy of Kindness as one of 100 girls who over the next 5 or 6 years will be whittled down to 3, and by whittled down I mean killed, with the final 3 being the next generation of kindnesses. They who are effectively assassins sent to punish those who are unpunishable for their crimes. So the story initially starts bouncing between these three characters. We don't meet Eldest for a little while, so we do bounce between Beck and Rue initially, and then Eldest's story then starts. So you think, who the hell's this? What's this got to do with everything else going on? It soon becomes apparent, and in a storytelling sense, there's a few extra surprising things that happen, which I won't go into because of spoilers. But effectively, we follow the girls as they go through this academy, and their experiences, their challenges, their duels, their successes, their losses. Rue, as she goes on a rampage of destruction, and just how it was that she came to rise out of the grave in the first place to go on this rampage of destruction. And Eldest, as she effectively starves herself so that she can remember and escape. Yeah, I quite enjoyed this. My wife picked this one out for me to read. It's not a book I would have normally have read, but it's certainly interesting having an older character play a lead role, and particularly one that's so kick-ass. I did enjoy the storytelling surprises that were thrown in there as well, because just when you think you've got into a groove and you know what's going on, no, something happens and everything you thought was wrong, you've got to start again. Okay, some things I did work out fairly early on, but again, not entirely correctly for reasons. And it was certainly interesting to see how these three girls did end up being connected, but also how things were connected to the Academy of Kindness and to this house where we meet Eldest. I think my only gripe really was this was a very personal story, particularly for Rue, on a revenge trail, where we learn that certain things had happened and we know who was responsible, but we don't know the whys necessarily, or who put it into place in the first place. Why did this house exist? Who made it so? There were wider machinations going on that we didn't actually find out really why, or what, or who, or when. And the way this story finished, this could very happily sit as a standalone book. But the fact this is a book 1, meaning it's likely to be a subsequent book or books following this, does suggest that we might get some other points of view, some other chronicles filling out just what went on and or why it happened, or what else is happening. Because the whole reason why Rue's village was destroyed in the first place was to start a war between two people we don't know anything about, and because we were so focused on just these small characters doing their thing rather than the wider geopolitical goings on. Also threw me out a little bit, it's not really a complaint, but the fact that I'm not quite sure where this is set. Now, most fantasy stories are either set on some Middle-earth type world that's like ours but not, or there's a portal to Narnia or something like that. This is definitely set on a world, but there are references to things that only we would recognise on our world. So I don't know if there's a certain Shannara Chronicles aspect about this where the Earth has been reset or something. I don't know. There's weird little nuggets of familiarity in this fantasy world that are too familiar. So it's not important to the story. The whole thing takes place on Gog and Magog, which looks a little bit like a weird shaped New Zealand or some such. And there's very little known about any other landmass, so it suggests the waters have risen. Mere hints or nuggets of potentials. I did enjoy it, worth buying, particularly this rather lovely edition, and I am intrigued enough to want to know more. So have you read Daughter of Crows? What did you think about it? Who is your favourite character of the 3? Comment down below please, but as usual, if it's nothing nice to say, please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe and other GP things if you want. And until next time, see you later.